New things are discovered every day in this world, and some of them expected, but some of them not. And sometimes those things baffle the world as to why they even exist, and none of them are more mysterious than those things found underground. Here are 10 mysterious hidden underground objects. Number 10 is the Tomb of the Sunken Skulls. Archaeologists discovered this tomb while excavating a prehistoric dried-up lake bed in Motala, Sweden in 2009. Beneath the lake bed, they discovered remnants of a stone tomb. Inside, they found a collection of human skulls with wooden stakes driven through them, as though they'd been displayed upright. The skulls date back to at least 8,000 years ago and are unique from that time period. Mystery surrounds why the skulls would have been placed there, as at the time, they would have been covered by a shallow pond. In other words, someone went to a lot of trouble to place them underwater. But perhaps an even greater mystery is why one of the skulls appears to have had a bone from another body inserted inside of it. To this day, no records have been found as to why this exists, and archaeologists have no explanation. Number 9 is a Ferrari. In 1978, a group of young boys from Los Angeles discovered something unbelievably strange buried in their backyard. It wasn't a relic of an ancient time or even treasure, but something much stranger. Their discovery of a 1974 Ferrari buried in their backyard left local police scratching their heads. The car had been placed in a big hole under the earth, covered in old rugs to protect it from the soil, and then buried. This bizarre mystery continued when the car's owner was tracked down. The Ferrari had been bought by a man named Rosendo Cruz for $22,000. Cruz claimed that the car had been stolen, but insurance investigators believed that he hired people to steal the car and bury it in order to get his hands on the insurance money. The car was excavated and analyzed, but to this day, nobody knows the full story as to what happened. Number 8 are secret bomb shelters. When the San Jose earthquakes decided to build a new soccer stadium in 2013, they uncovered a puzzling mystery. Demolition experts removed an old tank factory on the site that dated back to the 1900s. Construction crews found 70 underground vaults, sub-vaults, and basements, one of them filled with old tank shells. Some of these vaults went several stories into the ground and left construction workers baffled. Strangely, there are no records to suggest that the vaults even existed, and it took a supreme effort to remove all of them one by one. It is possible that the owners of the site built a network of chambers, but the question remains, why didn't they register their existence? And even more importantly, what else might exist down there? Number 7 is the Shell Grotto. Discovered in 1835 by James Newlove, the Margate Shell Grotto is one of the most mysterious structures in England. It's an entire subterranean passageway which weaves its way through chalk deposits 21 meters in length, terminating in a chamber known as the altar. The walls and roof are lined with 4.6 million seashells, arranged in a complex and beautiful array of geometric patterns. The only thing that's clear is that whoever built this underground structure put an immense amount of time and care into its construction. No one is even sure how old the Shell Grotto is, but theories range between 200 and 3,000 years. And the purpose is equally mysterious, with some suggesting it may be connected to a secret society known as the Knights Templar. Until scientists can effectively date the passageway, we're left only to speculate its true origin. Number 6 is the Mount Owen Moa. In 1986, on the slopes of Mount Owen in New Zealand, an expedition was charting the unexplored caves there. The vast network of caverns were ominous enough, but as the expedition climbed into a new chamber, they discovered something hideous, a strange hand with talons, complete with rotting flesh and attached to a corpse of something much bigger. The creature looked as if it had died recently, putting the team on edge in case there were more of these things down there in the dark. As it turned out, the taloned hand belonged to a moa, an extinct type of flightless bird capable of standing 3.6 meters high. Unbelievably, the environment had preserved its remains. This explanation hasn't stopped some from speculating that these towering predators are still out there somewhere in the remoteness of the New Zealand wilderness. Number 5 is an underground cinema. In 2004, police discovered something truly bizarre in the tunnels under Paris. These catacombs were used partially for burials in the past and are estimated to be 322 kilometers long, with skulls, bones, and other human remains lining the walls and filling the alcoves. But in a bizarre twist, in more recent years, someone had actually set up a cinema down there and no one knows why. In a 400 square meter cave, seats had been carved into the rocks and a full-sized cinema screen installed. Investigators also found a projection system, phone lines, and a professionally installed power line, and even another room set up as a bar restaurant. But perhaps the most disturbing thing is that when police returned just 3 days after the original discovery of the cinema, the phone lines had been cut and a note had been left which simply read, "Do not try to find us." Even until now, nobody knows who built this area and why the ominous note was left. Number 4 is the Neanderthal building. Structures found in a French cave highlight how much of our history is still a mystery. The structures were discovered more than 300 meters from the entrance of the Bruniquel cave in the south of France during the 1990s. Archaeologists have been studying them ever since, and what they found has shocked the academic world. Amazingly, it would appear that a group of Neanderthals broke off stalagmites in the cave and used them to build strange circular structures. Recent investigations suggest that the structures were built 175,000 years ago, easily the most ancient evidence of human construction in the world. But mystery still surrounds the stalagmite walls. What was their purpose, and what else did the Neanderthals build? And perhaps the most striking question of all, did Neanderthals often head deep underground for some unknown reason? Number 3 is the Orvieto Pyramid. You'd expect to find pyramids in Egypt and South America, but when archaeologists found a pyramid underneath a city in Italy, it left them completely mystified. This pyramid was found deep under Orvieto, a historic medieval town in northern Italy. Interestingly, upon thorough examination, archaeologists cannot tell us what it is or what it isn't. After excavating 15 meters down, the investigating team unearthed pottery and other artifacts. The closest date that they can put to the site is around the 5th century BC, but it could prove to be much older. It appears as though the pyramidal structure was buried deliberately centuries ago. Who built this structure and why did they bury it so quickly? These are the questions that are still waiting to be answered. Number 2 is the Copper Scroll. The Copper Scroll is a mysterious object which was discovered inside an Israeli cave in 1952. It was found among the Dead Sea Scrolls, which contain early Jewish writings. The Copper Scroll, however, stands out from the rest. First, the text was written on metal, a mix of copper and tin. But what's really fascinating about it is that the scroll contains the locations for buried treasure. The scroll describes 63 locations where gold and silver artifacts have been hidden. Unfortunately, it also references a second scroll which may be needed to discover the locations. Currently, archaeologists are still trying to decipher all of the text, but if the descriptions of the treasure are accurate, its entire value would be unimaginable. And number 1 is the TECAXIC CALIXTLAHUACA. Discovered in 1933, the TECAXIC CALIXTLAHUACA head is one of the most mysterious finds of modern archaeology. The head is from a statue and was unearthed beneath a pyramid structure just north of Mexico City, where it seems to have been left as a religious offering. The burial was dated between 1476 and 1510 AD. But what's astonishing is that the terracotta head itself may be of Roman origin, dating all the way back to around the time of Christ. If so, then the head could rewrite history. It could imply that the Europeans visited the Americas centuries before anyone thought it was possible. However, others suggest that the head washed up on the shores of the Americas somewhere in the Roman shipwreck. How it got there remains a mystery, but it does show that we have a lot about history that we still do not understand. So, those were 10 mysterious hidden underground objects. And if you enjoyed this, remember to give it a thumbs up. Also, be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, and click the bell beside the subscribe button to enable notifications so that you never miss a thing, because I release new videos all the time. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.